Virgo rising. How you doing, Virgo? This is your reading for the Aquarius new moon that's happening on the 29th of January 2025, which is tomorrow. I apologize for the delay in getting these videos out, but the South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces transit took up a lot of time. It was beautiful to read. Oh, I cannot recommend that transit enough. Anyway, so I'm doing these really quickly, and I work with 6-month cycles. So what comes through in this reading is going to serve you for the next 6 months. So I'm a bit distracted because there's a bit of a chair war going on at the moment with the 2 cats that I adopted in the summer. And one of them was about to try and push the other one off, but they haven't, right? They've not misused their power, and that is very much in alignment with this new moon because it's conjunct Pluto. Anyway, so the energy that comes through in this reading is going to serve you for the next 6 months up until the Aquarius full moon, which will happen in Leo season. So before I get on with this reading, just a little bit of housekeeping. Tomorrow, the 29th, when the moon is exact, till the full moon in Leo, all readings will be 50% off because this is the lunar new year. The moon represents our needs and whether they're being met or not, and how to give and receive nourishment. So really wanted to bring that forward by cutting the prices of my readings by half until the Leo full moon. You can check out my website if you want to go that way, or email me directly if you want to pay by PayPal for all of that. Other bit of housekeeping is I've set up a new YouTube channel. It's called Quantum Vibe Tarot. The link is in the description box, as well as it's been linked into this channel. They're more shorter videos. They're not fixed into astrology. It is more channeling, using lots more decks. I'm on camera. It's very creative, very playful. Timeless activation codes, really, is what it currently is. There's only 2 videos up there. I'm going to be doing one on the Virgo South Node and one on the Pisces North Node, of bringing in a frequency for us to transmit and integrate that is activating the higher intention of that transit. E tu fa la dice animo toela di anima. Di animo, toela di anima. So, Aquarius new moon, as I said, Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year. It's also around the time when we celebrate Imbolc. Imbolc in the Northern Hemisphere. And it is, what is it in the Southern Hemisphere? Is it Shaman? I believe it's, no. Wait. It's Lamas in the Southern Hemisphere. And we have 4 cross-quarter fire festivals a year. They are the midpoints between the solstices and the equinoxes. So they really help us tie in with the natural rhythm of the earth. And the more that we do that, the more we get in alignment with our 3D incarnation. And it's a very powerful way of connecting back to the Great Mother and also Source as well, because it is all that is. Itala diala modoela. Now, I've done a 2-part video series for this new moon already. It's first part is where I break down Imbolc, Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year, the wood snake, which is the animal for the Chinese New Year, as well as the fact that we're in a year 9 in terms of the numerology. So I bring all that together, and it's very in alignment with this new moon. And in part 2, I break down the astrology in way more detail of how all the celestial bodies are talking to each other at the exact moment of the new moon. And I really get into the weeds of that, tap into the energy, what's the most integrated, expansive intention, and pulled some tarot cards on that as well. So if you want a deeper dive on this Aquarius new moon, my loves, go check out that 2-part series. Because this is tied into this nodal axis that you're now experiencing. It's the first new moon since the nodes changed signs. The Cancer full moon was the first moon and the first full moon, and now this is the first new moon. And new and full moons, they are eclipses. They're the celestial bodies that operate with eclipses. So the lunation cycles, even though this isn't an eclipse, it is still activating a dynamic for us to then work with and get in alignment with the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. So, as I said, if you want a deeper dive, pause this video, go watch that 2-part series, and come back to see how it's showing up for the Virgo energy. Now, my loves, I read for the rising sign. So for those of you who do not have a Virgo in the 1st house, look to the house it does fall in your natal chart. look to the themes of that house, and you want to apply those themes to what comes through in this reading, as well as whatever else you've got going on in the sign of Virgo. For example, I have Virgo in the 2nd house and my sun is there, so I'd apply all of that meaning to what comes through in this reading. It's as if that Virgo energy, wherever it falls in your natal chart, has now energetically moved to the 1st house. So the astrology for the rising sign will always still link in. You've just got to add on your own natal chart meaning on top of it. As always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Now, I'm trying to do these a little quicker than I usually do. Although, to be fair, Cancers ended up being either 40 minutes or 50 minutes when they're supposed. I'm trying to aim for half an hour, right? Just because I'm aware of how late these videos are to go out. Now, the key download that came during the reading, the collective reading, was this moon is activating a deep-rooted universal truth that may have been hidden. You may have been aware of it, but not necessarily embodying it. And this is being awakened in this new moon, because this new moon is conjunct Pluto and Mercury. So we have the messenger of the gods. That was quick. Whoa, all right. The messenger of the gods communicating with Pluto. Now, Pluto inherently is about neutrality. Now, I know it probably doesn't seem like it, but that's because it brings up big extremes around control. And we can really struggle with change, the cycles of life, death and rebirth, and Pluto then comes along to really make it loud in order for us to do some deep thinking, right? I say that as I have Pluto in the 4th squaring my Venus, right? I am aware of the difficulties of a Pluto energy, but also the power of it. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is revealing, Pluto brings things up from that which was hidden, right? So it's bringing up this resource that was always within us, because Pluto inherently is about your root-id power, your magnetism, right? And so it's bringing up a universal truth via Mercury, and Mercury was the only god who could travel from the heavens to the earth to the underworld. Sharing messages, is bringing this message up, bringing up this activation with this new moon and feeding it into the moon. The moon is at her darkest, she's most receptive, so it's imprinting in our unconscious spaces this activation. And the sun is bringing the vision and the clarity of how to work with it. Very powerful stuff. And this is the first lunation in Aquarius that has Pluto firmly here, right? Pluto's been back and forth a couple of times now. This time it's not going back into Capricorn. It's staying right where it is for the next 19 years. And this is the first new moon that really solidifies the intention. It's not about fear, it's not about control. If those things do come up in this lunation cycle, trust and believe and know that they are just trying to highlight, okay, how can we work our way around this? How can we head back to neutrality and let go of control, right? And get in a flow state. And so we're getting a big activation come through, and that's what we're focusing on in pile 1 of the 2 oracle cards, of what is this universal truth that is being revealed with this new moon. So that's quite a lot going on in Aquarius. And where is that for you, my loves? Well, that's over in your 6th house of work, how you work, physical health, routines, co-workers, and therefore collaboration, pets, and therefore acts of service. And funnily enough, both of the cats are in this room. One of them usually never comes in here. She prefers the person that I live with, which is fine. And the other one is, over the last couple of weeks, was very nervous coming in here because she was working through her own trauma. She'd been in a cage for 6 months and then out in the wilds on her own 3 days after we adopted her. For 5 weeks, and so slowly she's been acclimatizing, and I think the energy in here was a little too high vibrational, and I think it overstimulated her, but she's come into herself. And the other one has also allowed me to be a little closer to her, to stroke her more often. She's a bit of a how do I describe her? She's a panther who likes her own company, right? And I can relate very strongly to that. It's in my Virgo sun, very hermit orientated, and they are both in here, and they didn't fight, and they worked together, and now they're sitting in different spots in the room, which has never happened before, just so you know. One of them has been already in 2 videos today. So we've got this sense of balance and collaboration, and getting along, and the pets in my life are showing up as a reference to the frequency that's showing up for you, of this sense of allowing the individuals to work together, allowing there to be a sense of co-creation and not fighting and not dominance, right? You'd think with Pluto and Mercury being conjunct Pluto right now, it's at 0 degrees of Aquarius, moved into Aquarius today, that you'd think they'd be fighting, but that's really not the vibe. Aquarius is kind of future thinking. It's very egalitarian. So 6th house, it's the adult in the room. Now, sometimes we can struggle being the adult in the room. We can struggle to take care of our physical health, our routines, how we work healthily with each other. And that's usually because we've faced various levels of neglect or certain situations where we didn't have the right role models. We were a bit too traumatized in our own emotional body to, do the work and figure it out for ourselves, that we can then neglect ourselves and not take care of ourselves. And the 6th house is really important for healthy relationships as well. If you don't understand how you work, right, how you figure things out, how you put things together, right, then how are you supposed to communicate that to somebody else and have a healthy working relationship, whether that's in a romance, work, with source, with the outside world? So you've got this big shift happening in your 6th house of elevating the way that you work, the way that you understand things, the way that you take care of yourself, and the way that you're the adult in the room. There's a real power that you've got here now, to transform and elevate your adult in the room. So fascinating that since I've done the Pisces Virgo axis transit series, very mantra orientated. It sounds like the way that I'm channeling, which is not something I have done before. So that's what's going on in the sign of Aquarius. So as I said, you're getting a big activation here to really level up and be the adult in the room, to enjoy that work, to enjoy taking care of yourself, taking it to the next level, new ideas, new understandings of the way that you work, heightened capacity to take care of your physical vessel, do the things, work together with others, and really be very strong in your own power, in your own footing in this incarnation. Now, the only other aspect I'm going to talk about, and there are other aspects, I'm just not going to bring them in because I've got to try and get these all out, is the trine with Jupiter over in Gemini. Now, Gemini's up in your 10th house, right? Life path, career, visibility, reputation, how the big outside world sees you. This is about, it's where it was where the sun was at the peak of its arc on the day that you were born. It's very sun orientated. Now, all your work houses are air. I have to say that Lilith is over in Libra. I talk about that in the collective reading. So we've kind of got a grand air trine going on. So a lot of your work houses there's a real focal point here, with this activation, right? So, but Jupiter is still retrograde, will go direct on the 4th of February, but that retrograde energy is still imprinted in this moon, which I love. I have a Jupiter retrograde. This moon happens to be happening on my Jupiter, so I'm here for it. Jupiter retrograde in the 10th, deep in a recalibration around your internal abundance, your internal wisdom, and your understanding of resources and opportunities within yourself, right, that are calibrating. They'll go active, they'll go outward after the 4th of February, but you're still going to have this resonance of the questioning of things, right? Jupiter retrograde questions things rather than takes things on as faith. So it really allows you as I say, you're going to have this undertone for till the full moon in Aquarius, which is going to help you with any time you get an opportunity and experience, start moving in a certain direction. Your inner Jupiter retrograde is going to help you understand what's right for you. Because sometimes we can sort of go along with the flow in a way that does us a disservice, if that makes sense, because we can conform to collective ideologies of what your life path should be, of what your experiences should be, and how they should look like, and what time frame they should be in. So that Jupiter retrograde is really helping you step into your authenticity around your own path. And that's been a big vibe with this whole moon anyway, of like the download, the activation that's coming in is getting us back to our power and not the externalization. And so Jupiter may highlight wounds around visibility, career, life path. And I wouldn't worry about them too much, or at all, really, to be honest, because it's going to highlight the wounds that you're going to be very able, with a higher perspective of the Aquarius energy, be able to neutralize. And that was one of the phrases that came to mind when I started tapping into the energy of this moon. Neutrality rather than numbness. Now, there's a big difference in this. When we're numb, we're hiding, right? Whether it's defensive or whatever, for good reason. Dishenimo, dialema, dishenimo, dofinima, dianima. Okay. Dishenian, dianimo, yana, dosheni, atienima, otofala dianima. What was I saying? Sorry, I got a bit distracted because they were doing lots of things with the decks. Yeah, the wounds that come up, that Pluto energy with Mercury, you're going, because this is still imprinted into your 6th house, you're going to be able to figure out the way to release it, to find the wisdom in it, to move on from it. And there's going to be a lot of deeper resonance and faith of your path and the way that you're able to figure things out that facilitate that path. Jupiter can also represent publicity, and often in the 10th it can see a shift around how you are perceived, and this is going to flow into the way that you work. So it may see an elevation and more visibility around your methodology, around the way that you work. And you just generally say you don't get that, right? Because that can happen. It's not all the time. It depends on your chart and what's going on in your chart. That you are able to understand your own good publicity, right? As in, like, you really rate what you're doing in a very mature, healthy way. That means that any entanglement with how you are seen by the outside world isn't affecting you in the same way. And that's going to establish a growth in confidence, right? Jupiter can very much be about confidence. This is the unfolding of it. Now, that's all the aspects, but I'm going to very quickly talk about rulership. Now, Saturn traditionally rules Aquarius, which is what I work with, and we want to look where Saturn is, and Saturn is over in Pisces, which is in your 7th house of other, right? This can be source, one-on-one relationships in the 3D, important relationships in the 3D, as well as your relationship with source. And so Saturn is about maturity, integrity, commitment, legacy. And as I said, if we can't understand how we work, if we don't step up to our own plate and taking care of ourselves and then externalize all of that or diminish all of that when we're with other people, we're not in our power. So Saturn's really going to be doubling down on any wounds around the other that have impacted you being in your power. Is really going to help move past that, as well as bringing in higher level versions of commitment with people, with the other, in terms of collaboration. That might just be source, right? Start off with source and see how it happens in the 3D. Jupiter traditionally rules Pisces, so Jupiter is influencing Saturn, therefore influencing this moon not only by aspect, but also by rulership energy. So that life path, career energy is funneling into Saturn and going, hey, let's make sure how we show up with the other, what the other's doing, what we care about with the other, our relationship with Source is in alignment with the path. All funneling into this moon of how you figure things out, how you're the adult in the room for yourself. Gemini, ruled by Mercury. Where's Mercury? In the sign of Aquarius. So this means we have this feedback loop between Mercury, Saturn, and Jupiter. Mercury, how we perceive reality, how we collect information, how we process it, how we communicate it. This is getting an upgrade. The commitment, the loyalty, the responsibility, the duty, the legacy energy of the maturity of Saturn with the vision, the purpose, the faith, the abundance, the bigger picture energy of Jupiter, all flowing together. So you are able to commit and do the damn thing. I've been saying for a while now, and I'm sorry that I'm a broken record, but the work we do this year, the soul retrieval work, is going to have a massive payoff. This is the year to really, I mean, I'm speaking to myself. I'm being really hardcore with myself. I'm constantly in observation of old patterns, old responses. I'm not shaming any of it. That's not the point. And then trying to navigate in a way that genuinely feels right for me. And the more that we're doing that and other practices in regards to getting back to you and Source, which is you, this year, launch, changing our reality. It's wild. Right, so this is the vibe. Let's look at what's going on for you, my lovely Virgo. So we've got 2 oracle cards letting us know what is this universal truth that was always within you, that Pluto is digging up from the underworld, right? And I don't say that as a negative thing. And that Mercury is then communicating to the sun that's feeding into the moon. Oh, opened it at the page. First up, we've got 32, and we've got Merkaba. Diana, the frequency of Merkaba supports our abilities to use our consciousness to traverse into other layers of reality and dimensions. It activates our access to our Akashic inheritance as well, merging the totality of our experiences into our present to serve our higher purpose, right? That is kind of like soul retrieval, right? Of all the wisdom of all your lifetimes, of all the experiences to flow through your 6th house of how you figure things out and how you work. That's pretty cool. That's very, very, very cool. The word Merkaba can be loosely translated as chariot. It refers to the human light body, the energy field around all humans that is generated by the quantum parts of our DNA. Therefore, this field is quantum as well. It is in this field that we communicate with our consciousness and where our Akashic records are stored. The human Akasha can be described as the total history of everything that a human being has experienced on planet Earth, held as energy in the etheric field around the human being. This energy field has a geometric shape of the star tetrahedron, which consists of 2 equally sized interlocking fields of tetrahedra, pyramids, with a common center. Through the counter-spinning of these fields while breathing in certain patterns, it is believed that we can change or move our perception of reality into other dimensions. It is why the Merkaba is believed to be the vehicle that allows us to travel through different times and dimensions. The upward tetrahedron of this activation refers to the masculine aspect, its fiery colours indicating power, presence, and direction. Oh, I like those for the 6th house. With the 10th as well, the light coming out of its corners refer to the capacity to direct energy and presence. The downward tetrahedron refers to the feminine aspect, deep, dark, and mysterious, with spirals that indicate the flowing nature of the feminine. When these 2 opposing forces come together in perfect union, the Merkaba activates its full potential. This process is outwardly expressing through our search and manifestation of a love relationship with another, and inwardly through the equally powerful love relationship with ourselves. I mean, that's bringing in the 6th house, the 7th house where Saturn is, right? And that can obviously be interpreted as your love relationship with another physical being, your love relationship with Source. They like that one. As well as a knock-on effect, your love relationship with yourself, i.e. being the adult in the room and not neglecting yourself. Now, you may be various stages of that. There may be some little niggles that you still need to work out, or you'll finally be like, whoa, yeah, no, I really keep going down the same path and not making sure that I'm rested, recovered, cared for, nourished, right? Both hold the potential of supporting our eternal and infinite capacity to create our reality according to our consciousness. Whoa, wait, let me just do that. And inwardly through the equally powerful love relationship with ourselves. Oh, yeah. Both hold the potential of supporting our eternal and infinite capacity to create our reality according to our consciousness. The arrowhead pattern, and this is like the way that we work, right? So this awareness of your capacity to create your own reality and being able to implement it in a very balanced way of the yin, with the yin and the yang here. The arrowhead pattern refers to our ancient past as well as our alien and off-planet connection to other realities. The water in the background indicates the emotional realm, the guidance system that helps us navigate through the world of energies in relation to our physical bodies. The green and turquoise indicate our heart-based truth, and the surrounding square represents the physical world in which our reality is based. Ooh, very cool. Very cool, Virgo. That's like a real containment field around activating that adult in the room. And it's not about not having fun. Don't ever think that. It's the capacity, right? The more I've put into practice being in the adult in the room for myself, in the little things, the more energy I have for life. It's just flat out. It just, the more energy I have for fun, for joy, and work as well. Like it's very, all the things. It's worth doing it. It's worth putting in the daily habit. You know, if you're struggling to, feed yourself really well, just start small. And I can't remember where I heard this, but I really like it. And they really recommend, if you're trying to start a new habit, attach it onto something you do regularly already, right? So do something small, do it regularly, and attach it onto that habit. And then you'll be able to then do the more hardcore levels, right? Because you've kind of got your body, your mind, your emotions adjusted to the change without the sort of dramatic, I'm going to cut out all sugar. Yeah, maybe you do that 3 days a week and you attach it to, the meal. Say you normally have a snack at say 3 p.m. right? Instead, you'd eat a carrot at 3 p.m. So it's something you were doing already, but you're adding on the intended habit, right? Okay, so next up we've got White Eagle, Ancestral Spirit. I mean, Pluto is very much linked into the ancestors, and that Merkaba was really sort of reclaiming a lot of wisdom to facilitate you being incarnate here. Toela, connect to your lineage. A family wound or pattern can be healed now. You know, that can often link into the neglect cycle of not being able to be the adult in the room. Perhaps you had a parent who really struggled to show up in that way, right? Being a parent is a different ball game, and they may have really struggled, and there's a deep wound there that's in the lineage. I love that this is showing up, that you stepping into your power is going to heal your lineage. White Eagle is a Native American shaman who is dedicated to honoring our spiritual heritage. He is a world-renowned spiritual guide who has been particularly cherished by mediums all over the world. He first spoke through a medium called Grace Cook in the early 20th century. He is the guide who helps create clear channels in our bloodline and our spiritual lineage so we can access the heart of the Creator. He also helps us move into sacred ceremony, where we can hold sacred space to honor a change, transition, celebration, or anything else that deserves time. He is wonderful for clearing space, and we can call on him for help in forging spiritual connections. I feel like maybe doing a little ceremony at the new moon, celebrating all of the work you've done in your entire lifetime. Even if you're like, oh, I haven't done enough, I haven't done that. No, 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 no. Virgo, we're letting go of control, we're letting go of perfectionism. I say that as a Virgo sun, and the big channeling that came through in that Virgo South node. Take some time to honor just how far you have come, recognizing through ceremony and that's just funny. Didn't clock that first, just a bit of words. Recognize through ceremony and ritual the shifts in your awareness. Healing and journey really allow you to move into a state of grace and gratitude. You have or have recently had an opportunity to heal an old family wound or pattern. It's important to connect with your family in spirit so that you can set a new energy of love in place. White Eagle is bringing your ancestors through to you and allowing you to know that they are happy and well. He is sounding his sacred drum to clear your spirit. And I love this of sort of the acknowledgement of the work, right? And don't forget to do the acknowledgement. And maybe do a dance or a ceremony or light a candle, and send that joy of, oh, I achieved this and this feels good, or I like how I figured this out, and send that down the bloodline, right? And really let that infuse in, because so often we don't see the work that we do, and that's a crying shame, because there's a great power there. So the more that you're doing that, the more you're strengthening your awareness of your capacity. Right, now tarot, this is the challenge. The High Priestess. Right, the High Priestess knows she draws towards her that which brings abundance and fertility. She's not trying to control, she's not planning. She knows that she can just go about her life and the things will unfold, and she'll be intuitively guided to do whatever she needs to do in alignment with what is coming towards her. But she's not having to worry about what that is or how it's coming. So this, again, is about letting go of the control, because the challenge is accessing this. Of, is it all going to work out? Is everything going to go okay? It's dealing with, I've just clocked a little spider that is just dropping down towards the camera. Of the web we weave. Got to trust in the web that you're weaving from an intuitive nature. But there may be some real fear mindsets. As I said, you've got your work houses being activated here, Virgo. Of, is it all going to be okay? Are you going to be able to survive? Right? Are the plans that you're making gonna have fruition? Did you do the right thing? Did you do the right amount of work? All of those things, all those worries, all those anxieties that are very, very natural, is blocking getting in touch with this High Priestess, right? So the challenge is accessing this, and the opposite of that is the fear, the worry, the control. Right, the self-criticism, the self-judgment. She's not doing any of that, right? How to step into this. Got the Leo card. Love and kindness of yourself. The honouring of the higher mind and the instincts working together, right? Rather than being in conflict, rather than doing battle, rather than criticising yourself, rather than trying to dominate a certain ideology of how your mindset, right? There's a softening here. And with that vulnerability that they're both doing, right, they come to know each other, they come to understand each other and start to work together. And that's how you're going to truly start to embody the High Priestess when it comes to that, right? Maybe you got worries about health or routines or drama with co-workers, right? Maybe you worry about your pets. Are they safe? Are they going to be okay? I'm speaking from experience. I've had to do a lot of cleansing of my fears around that. I've got to learn to trust them, that they're going to be all right, and trust in source, that whatever will be, will be. They've taught me so many lessons already. But all of that fear is really cool, right? And this is your 12th house, your hidden house, your house of mysteries, right? Unconscious responses, limiting beliefs, trauma responses, right? Distorted love languages to the self, which can lead to that control, that conflict, that fear, that social anxiety, the perfectionism, right? The hypercriticism, and all of that is getting in the way of this. And very much in alignment with what's going on with the South Node. Right, so it's quite interesting that kind of energy's shown up. It's been showing up in all the readings, to be honest. Like the energy of this nodal transit is not going away, and I'm here for it, because it's so powerful. It's so understandable to not be high priestess in the 6, right? Of I've got this idea, I'm going to implement it, and then the kind of spiral we can get in our heads around the consequences or our expectations or our assumptions of the result. Let's try and step out of that. Right, how to work with this activation. I'd forgotten about these cards. So this is all of this. I don't need to say anything about this card. This is regret about the past, shoulda, woulda, coulda, and fear about the future, adrenaline, cortisol, not being present, externalizing your mind on problems rather than having fun and finding the joy and curiosity of other things, right? We can be in this place so much. So it's come in the upright. And so they're really wanting you to look at where this is in your life. This may be really loud, it may be really subtle, but they're wanting you to look at it. And then this card has shown up for nearly everybody. And then they're really wanting you just to slow down and observe your current reality without trying to control it, right? Observe and get the lay of the land, this new frequency we're in, this new landscape that we're in, right? Because this is a very addictive mindset, right? That we all struggle with, because the mind likes to utilize and not waste energy. And so if you've got some like ingrained thought patterns, wormholes, all of that kind of stuff, like hamster on the wheel kind of mind, monkey mind, all of that stuff, your brain is going to very quickly go to that, right? Because it's using very little energy and getting a very quick hormonal response to give it a boost, right? Give it a power up. Now, daily practice out of this is the only way through it. Truly, madly, or breath work, or like doing big sessions like that. But I do feel like the daily work is also really important, because even with like psychedelic treatments and all of that, like it kind of fades unless you're doing the daily work. Okay, so we've got this 2 of Wands, which is wanting you to observe your new landscape, not wanting you to think about the past, right? Not wanting you to think about the future, but what is going on in the present moment. And this is long-term manifestation energy, right? So what you're observing as this frequency unfolds is going to get you out of this. But they are wanting you to focus on where is this in your life? And how can you observe it from a place of neutrality, right? And get present and stay out of this externalization, because it's going to lead you to the Chariot. Lol. Merkaba, Chariot, because this pause energy that's allowing you to make peace with this, shift through it, and step in. They're standing on a castle. They're in a good position. You're in a good position, but it just sometimes takes us a while to even realize it. Okay, so take your time with that one. And it's going to lead to this sense of confidence within yourself. This is a victory card, right? This figure understands everything that has happened is a resource in order to help energize it and propel it forwards. But they're not trying to control what's going on. Right, there are no reins. They are in balance with the yin and the yang, right? There's a real honoring here of the 2 sides of the same coin, of the action and the surrender, right? The yin and the yang, right? Talk about that in the collective reading in terms of the Tao. That this is, as I said, it's a victory card. It's also this empowerment of all your skills and tools of being the adult in the room, right? Your confidence to move forward, to evolve, to harness the good, the bad, the beautiful and the ugly in the way that you work from a great point of wisdom. This is you moving around in your Merkaba, doing like super cool healing for the ancestors while activating higher wisdom in you being the adult in the room and understanding yourself. At the bottom of the deck, which is the root energy of this activation, is the 6 of Wands. This is someone who's gone out who was instinctively driven to go and do a thing. And that involved challenges, and they just went and did it. And now it's over, and they completed it, and it was great. And they feel really good about themselves. This is another victory card, because we've got the victory wreath, and this is also a victory card. That there's a real sense of confidence of how you feel in how you understand how things work, and putting that into practice, right, in the way that you work. And they're feeling very proud of everything that they've done. They're also on a high position because they're sitting on a horse, right? So there's a sense of elevation here with your 6th house. And it's also about outside recognition. Now, this is, I'd rather you focus on the recognition of self, right? Because it will lead to outside recognition. But there is, and obviously you've got all your work houses activated. This may, people seeing the work that you do and celebrating it, right? And wanting to give back to you for the work that you do. So that can be a key theme, especially with Jupiter up in the 12th. Whoa, not in the 12th, the 10th. Leo's in the 12th. That was interesting. Okay, so I feel like because of that missaid thing and everything's in alignment, that there is an unlocking in your 12th, because obviously this new moon is opposite that, of an unconscious response that stops you from fully embodying this sense of being proud and acknowledging the work that you've done and who you are, right? And yeah, I'm sure you feel proud, but I just feel like there's something archetypal here, ancestral here, right at the root, that even though you're walking around going, yeah, I feel good, I know what I'm doing, there's like a core block that's gonna get broken down so you can step into your legacy energy. Lol. Okay, I'm going to do quickly. I'm going to cut the deck with these 2 oracle cards and see where we cut the deck and what's there. Ooh, okay. I've been listening to an audiobook of this dude for a while. Very empowering. Saint-Germain, karma releasing, move beyond drama, create your own path, make room for good energy. That is just kind of summed up what that transmission was with the ancestral frequency. Love it. Right, what have we got for the Merkaba Disha miracle? The frequency of miracle supports our belief in ourselves, shut up, as a part of source, and therefore our belief that anything is possible. Well, Virgo, I'm going to leave it there. Oh, your readings have been wild. I'm not surprised. That South Node transit, embrace it. Embrace it fully, that you are revealing something that has always been within you, that is your power, right? That whatever's falling away, you don't need anymore. And it's going to be strengthening your capacity to embody yourself at the fullest level. Oh, I'm here for it. I am here for it. Virgo. Okay, my loves. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it resonated. If it did, hit that like button. Leave me a comment. I love to hear from you. Don't forget, from tomorrow, which you'll probably be when you watch this, because that's when I'm going to be putting this video out, all readings will be 50% off till the full moon in Leo. Oh, Virgo, be good to yourself, be good to those around you. Safe travels in your chariot, in your Merkaba, until we meet again.